Hello everybody. So here we are again, another live session, and I'm going to wait until I see somebody coming on, letting me know that you here. Sorry about my coughing, just scratching my throat a little bit. My throat is a bit scratchy in the morning, but I'm good, all good, and just waiting to see when anybody comes on. I know quite a few members messaged me this time that they're trying to tune into the live, so I did my best to give a set time. Although I like to leave a little bit of flexibility with that, but I've given the time, the set time. Gabriel is here. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. So obviously you can see me and you can hear me. So that is all I need. That little confirmation at the beginning of each live session. I mean, I'm just telling you, I don't know how many here. If any issues, my computer froze again the other day. I don't know whether the live stops, whether it happens. I have another one, but this is the one I've been using. It's a nice large screen, so my good old computer, I mean, not old, but a good new computer got ruined by thank you, Gabrielle. Got ruined by pouring coffee on it, so and I haven't been able to replace it yet. So, hey, Sean, thank you so much for tuning in from the airport. I really appreciate the effort. Sean is traveling and just landed at the airport and still here tuning in. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you, Maureen. Wonderful to see you as well. So what I'm about to say is that if any issues, because as I'm doing the live, I cannot tell you if it frozen, if it stops or something. So if anything ever happens, please feel free to call me on Messenger. I just made sure the volume is fully turned up, but I'm not anticipating any problem. Hi, Shape. Nice to see you. Great. Tuning in from Hungary. Wonderful. So, but I anticipate everything going well. If any issues, and if it breaks the connection or something, I just come on again. It happened in my previous group years ago. A few times I got notified by a messenger call if something was off, but most of the time everything is going well. So I'm anticipating a lovely session. So thank you for being here. Let us start with köszi. Nice to see Hungarian words. Nice to see the Hungarian people here being more active. And then when I say more active, is I'm seeing them now coming on and watching the live. And it's just really nice to see that some people from my own country, where the body got born, never got born, but you know what I mean, is also here. It's just lovely. So let us just center ourselves first. And we're starting with a passage by our beloved Robert, and that always sets the tone and sets the frequency, the right vibration, and that's how we start our session. So this is the quote that I posted a few days ago, and it is very current topic right now, and it is about living in the eternal now. We touched on this last time, and we diving deeper into it. There is something else has come to me to add as an additional tool for deeper understanding and assimilation of what it is like and feels like, and how do we know when we're really living in the eternal now. So, but before we get to that, let us close our eyes. You can listen to this quote that way. We're going to be in a moment of silence after the quote is read, and then we start. So, living in the eternal now. You destroy your ego by beginning to live in the now. By letting go of the past, not concerning yourself with the future, and living in the eternal now. Living in the immediate second. there is absolutely nothing happening to make you miserable. Take that second and expand it into eternity. Look at the second you're living in. Is there anything happening in that second? Is there something annoying you, something bothering you? There is no time for this to happen because you are living in the second. In the second in which you live right now, there is absolutely nothing happening to make you miserable, to make you happy. According to human standards, you are living in the immediate second. Now, what if you were able to take that second and expand it into eternity, into infinity? This would mean that you would be forever happy, forever at peace. But most of you begin to think about the past, you begin to worry about the future, and that ruins it all. So let us remain in silence with this one as we're preparing ourselves for this session, leaving outside the mortal shoes, the preconceived ideas, the judgments, anything and everything that has to do with the humanhood, with the dream character. We're leaving it all outside. Nothing to be concerned about the future. We're not bringing back the past. We're just here, fully present, even beyond the present, in the eternal now. Resting in God consciousness, grace consciousness. Have it all and have it now, here and now, here and now consciousness. Because everything is here and everything is now. And this is the consciousness we aim to live from and as from here on. And now, so we got Tarun here, great, Margaret here, fantastic. Thank you guys for joining, and it's always nice when you let me know that you're here, so I know you're here. Maybe I bring this a little closer as we're going to move into reading out loud the questions and answering the questions. So before touching on that, I would like to kind of recap what we are working on or going deeper within if this is the first time you are joining this. Basically what we are grasping is what it is like to live from the eternal now, which is a prerequisite. It is an absolute must if we are to stop accumulating more karma and also nullifying previous karma. We must move out of the sense of time. Because if you really think about, I'm sure we are all together as one in this human experience, and what you're feeling, what you're experiencing is the same as mine and same as everybody else. We were conditioned and brought up with this sense of determination to have goals in our lives. We have that sense that our life is progressing, and we always think that, okay, here I am now, maybe broken in the heart, broken in the finances, or the job situation is not as I would like it to be. But if I just get my act together, if I work hard enough, if I do the sadhanas, the principles, and I know that, then my so-called future, my so-called tomorrow will be different. And my dear friends, this is exactly the definition of a human life, moving towards something in the future, hoping for betterment and improvement. But can we see that what we are called to do is really only really one sadhana, and in the deepest sense, and that is to be the self, which is not a doing, but a beingness. But we cannot be the self if we are in divided consciousness. We cannot be the self if we move in time, because when we are in time, we are in the mind. Mind and time goes hand in hand, same thing. So what has to be broken and has to be seen each time when we are progressing something towards something. So let us just stop now, because we're here to do the work. It's not a speech that I'm making. We're really doing the work right now. Let us take an inventory within. In what areas in our life we are waiting for something to leave us or to come to us, or what areas, what departments we are hoping that if I do the right thing, then my tomorrow will be different, or my future. Just take an inventory. It can be in the health, like I know what it's like to live with chronic pain, and I know that the only thing sometimes that helps us even get up from the bed and face another day is the hope that tomorrow might be different. But as long as we are moving on that stream, we are moving in the stream of the divine, and we are totally separated from the one. We totally separated from the eternal. Now, in the absolute, we can never be separated from that. But in the relative, as long as we are moving time, we are separated. We are separated. So we progress. So just let us just see in what areas we are hoping that things will be different. And we are now called to recognize that this is not my life at all. The life of Palma, or the life of Sean or Gabriel, Shape, or whoever names I'm just saying just randomly, it's not a life of mine at all. It's the false sense image. The karmic past is appearing in the present sense to this false image. But it's not a life that is progressing. It's not a life to be hoped for, to be better, to be greater in any shape or form. Because there is only one life. There's only one presence, and that is the indivisible self. And if I see a life here and there and over there, then I am in a divided consciousness, and by definition, the identification with my true nature is only really correct if I identify as the omnipresent self. I am not just here like a spiritual being, invisible, not in form but invisible in a localized time and space. No. If I only see myself spiritual over here, but I'm accepting your humanhood and his humanhood, then I am violating the divine law. And as a result of that, I will pay the consequences, and I will have the karmic law in my experience. So if we are to abide, because this is what we are called, right? This is all we have to do, nothing else. Be as the self. Abide as the self. Abide in the self-consciousness, the one consciousness. So this is what we are called to do. But let us recognize that as long as I'm seeing form out there, as long as I'm accepting form out there, as long as I judge, I condemn, as long as I feel myself or find myself in fault or mistakes and all that, I'm not abiding in self, because I'm accepting a second self. I'm accepting a second self. So there's a fair bit I would like to cover on this one, but I just had to start somewhere, so I'm just gonna change the temperature. We got a really hot summer here. It's 105, 106 today, which is about almost 40 degrees, so it's turning the air conditioner a little bit, making it cooler. So now I'm going to use an analogy that I didn't say this last time, but I would like to bring it in today for us to assimilate, to comprehend a little bit better, a little bit deeper, the definition of eternity and infinity. And so and then I must say that it is not coming from me. I pay credit to who I learned this from. My great teacher in the Christian mysticism, Herb Fitch, was the one that years ago I heard this, and that kind of completely, in a way, transcended the sense of time and the sense of space for me with this example. It's so powerful. So I would like to use it and share it with you for that reason. So as we know, there is no space as such, there is only infinity. But the reason, what happens is, like, here we are, we're living this kind of life. We're not living, but it appears to be living. And eternity is stretched out into the slowness of time. And that's why we see evil in it, because we don't see what is connected up to before it comes, or what is connected after that. But we need to know, what we need to know is that eternity and infinity is here and now. This is the kind of two password that we need to kind of live and introduce to our consciousness, and to really let it take the seed and the root, that nothing is out there. To a human being, to a form. Look around the room where you are right now. You seem to be here. Okay, I'm here. But the chair is over there, the door is over there, the lamp is over there. So to the human, to the matter, to the mortal consciousness, there is always something over there, outside of the self. But to the real self that I am, there is no there. There is no such word in the vocabulary as there, because the infinite self is infinite, which means nothing outside of itself. If you're looking at your arm right now, and you're looking at your wrist, and then looking at your elbow, what would you say? Would you say over there, or would you say it's here? I mean, it's here, right? It's here. But when you are the infinite self, identifying as infinite self, because the infinite self is everywhere, then the infinite self would never say it's over there. It would always say here, here, here. So wherever I am, wherever I appear to be, everything is here. And now we come to the other one that is a very powerful one, if you get this, and it is in eternity. That eternity is now. So we were conditioned to move in time, to progress into our future, but now we are learning the only way we ever gonna make progress from here on, because everybody is here in an advanced state of consciousness. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here in the Robert Adams group, right? So now we are looking at ways how we can stop living in time, moving towards the future, and instead we're moving in a vertical line. We're not going anywhere, but we're going deeper, 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 deeper into our being, because there's nowhere to go. I am already here, and I'm already everywhere. So I would like to use this pencil analogy that I learned from Herb Fitch. When I say I learned back then years ago, it was a great example to show how we falsely accept, because of the different angle, because of the angle we're looking at things, we accept the false sense of this birth. We are born, we are die. So what I would like all of us to see, that the past and the present and the future is right here and right now simultaneously. And her pitch is using this pencil analogy, and I'm going to be making a demonstration here. I was wondering whether I'm going to do this or not, or just saying it, but you know what, I think it's more powerful if I make the demonstration. So he says, here's a piece of paper, and this is the say the human consciousness, that we're living, the limited consciousness. And as we come into incarnation, like say this is eternity here, and as we come into incarnation, like you just pierce this piece of paper and it comes through, and that is this particular lifespan that you experience. But you actually, when it comes through into a so-called new life, which is only in the dream world, but say incarnation, you don't see, you only see what is connected to the paper. You only see what you're seeing, like just like the keyhole experience that Robert is referring to. Like you just only see a fragment of it. You don't see the whole picture. You only see a fragment of it. But that's why it gets really distorted, and the judgment is based on a distorted way, because you don't see the whole picture. You only see this one. So you only see this pencil where it makes contact with the paper, and you can't get outside of the paper. You can't see what has pushed through. You can't see what has pushed through on the other side of the paper. So you can't see what's gone and disappeared. And then the other one that is yet to come, you call it future. So this one you call it past, it's already gone, and this one you call it future. But so the question is it true? Is it past? Is it future? It's a whole pencil. It's a whole pencil. It's a whole life. We're just not seeing it. We're only seeing a distortion of it. And the same happens as eternity comes into the present. We call it time. And what has pushed through already, like this one, this incarnation particularly, I'm making an example now, we call it the past that is already dead. And then the future that is yet to the what that is yet to come, we call it the unborn. We call it the future. But this is a whole being, but we're only seeing a fragment of it, a little part of it. But I am indivisible being, so I am living in the eternal now. The whole being is in the eternal now. Eternity is now. So this was the example. If you can just see it, like how when we have this human incarnation, we only see a fragment of our wholeness, of our being, and it is because we live in this limited human consciousness. So that's why we can't just continue seeing a fraction of our beingness. We have to see the whole. But the only way to see the whole is to be the whole. So we have to be the whole. And then we have to see that all of our so-called past life and future life and present life is happening right now. And to really catch the vision, this is the example, like say for example, you are scheduled for an operation in the hospital, say in a month time. But that is happening right now. It will come into the time sense in a so-called 1 month's time, here and now into this present moment, but that operation is happening right now. Or that is the analogy that I'm using for eternity. And for infinity, say your child is 1,000 miles away from you, traveled to see to another country 1,000 miles away from you. But if you're really truly speaking the truth, you can't say that she's over there, because everything is here. So that 1,000 miles away to the self is here. Now the reason why I'm going so deep into that, because we always think that the fulfillment of our, the wrong word, desires, I don't want to say that, but the fulfillment of our needs, for example, the fulfillment of the everyday needs is out of reach. But to the self, if I live from that self-consciousness, from that timeless being consciousness, is already here. Nothing can come in the future. And whatever is in the future, is already here. Everything is always here in the now. So instead of waiting for something to break or to go away or to dissolve or some solution to a problem to come, instead of waiting for that, we gotta kind of take a different approach, a different attitude, and it is a here and now. Here and now, not waiting for anything in time, because even whatever is to come in time into the present is already past. Everything is past. Remember how Robert says that every movement you make, everything you say has been recorded, already recorded, and it's coming like a movie into our present time sense. It's already gone. It's already past. It's already past. So there is nothing to wait for, but to accept. Accept by no one, just be. But we need to know, and this is kind of, if there is such a thing, pray without ceasing, is to monitor our consciousness 24 hours a day, who I am identifying as and where I am looking from. Every moment, 500 times a day, I bet we flip back into being a human, either by waiting for something or fearing something or reacting to something. But if I am aware, if I am like a soldier, like monitoring, guarding that consciousness, it's impossible to react, it's impossible to fear, it's impossible to resist if I'm aware, because all of these things are action, but in awareness nothing can take place. So if I am able to continue that unbroken awareness, that unbroken obedience in the self, as the self, then there will be no issue ever coming, and that is in a way how we stop accumulating more karma and also nullifying karma. And that is the way to live in this heavenly consciousness. And so in one of the posts that I put up, in the very last sentence, and I don't know which one that was, I've really posted a lot this week, like every week, but Robert says this earth school kind of is like a school for the soul. Now, Eric Spartan had a question. If I'm answering now, just going with the flow. If I think he said self or soul is the same thing. Now, I used to always think that soul is kind of different. It's my soul and your soul and his soul, or take it like an individual consciousness. But he's saying that oh, Becky's messaging me. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm messaging. I'm doing the live. Everything okay with the live? Everybody's hearing me? Okay, everything should be okay. Oh, I got a little bit distracted by this now, so I'm coming back. Where was I? Oh, I lost my line. So human consciousness. Yeah, I get distracted sometimes. I'm so fully into it. I just don't know what I said. What was the last sentence I said? Let me just get centered. Maybe I turn this down so I don't get disturbed. Human consciousness. Oh, I just completely forgot where I was doing what I said. I was in it. Sorry. Just had this moment of. So human consciousness. What was I saying? Anybody can help me out? Like, what was the last thing I said? I need to come back to what I was saying. I just, for a moment, I thought that I'm not on live. Like, oh my God, like Becky messaging me, am I okay? And then of course I'm okay. Okay, right? Everybody's yeah. When the Master Robert was asked, oh, thank you. Okay, great. So we are here. We are on live. Great. So yeah, if there is a self or there is a soul, and I used to believe that there was a soul, like an individualized consciousness, but Robert says that there is no soul, like, and then I can actually see that like we made a God out of coming through the mind. We made a soul out of the mind. But my whole point is, coming back now, I'm really glad I'm back on track now. So the soul is almost like in a training program. So by this, the soul is So what happens is, okay, so we are having all these experiences, or nobody's experiencing anything, but it's coming to our time sense. So karma is coming to the time sense. And the way to kind of nullify this karma or stop the whole thing is by moving into that eternal now for that split second. And as we do that, when we come to our center and we're not going into the past, not going into memory or future, any projection, but remaining in the center, in that divine instant, I am one with the self as the self, and in that divine instant, I am white as snow. The karma is erased. And what we are called, as in the passage that I recited by Robert in the beginning, to take that second that when we just narrow it down to that second when nothing can happen. The second is not even a second because nothing can happen in that moment, and we take that with us wherever we go, and that is how we kind of nullify the karma. So and then stop accumulating more karma. So I think this is what I wanted to say here, but as I answer the questions, more will come. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted, and this is why I kind of don't look at the messages too much, because the flow is I don't even know what I'm going to say or what's happening, and when there's another something comes in, I just don't even know what I said. But I really appreciate you having me out so I could come back into this moment. So all is well. So this is what I wanted to say about the time. That in the time, like, everything is becoming. This is why we are experiencing this sense of incompletion and imperfection all the time. Because when we live in time, we only get the fragment of the wholeness that we are. There's just everything's always becoming in time, but the now is now. The eternity is now. So, and we got somebody else just joined us. Oh, that was Marcel. Marcel, lovely to see you. Judith, Diane, from Newcastle. Yes, she only lives like half an hour from my place. Fantastic, lovely to see you, Diane. And then I'm just looking at my messages for a moment. Okay, so this is about time. This is about time I wanted to say. And then what we are to really live from every single day is to turning off the world. To turning off the world, and the way we turn off the world is by not identifying as the form. But I really would like to point out something. If you really want to abide in that icon, in that I am presence consciousness, we cannot see and accept another person's fault or mistake or shortcoming or sickness or anything. Because if we accept it as a reality, we hate it, fear it, resent it, then we are not accepting our true self, because we only accepting our true self if we accepting that true self to be infinite, everywhere present. That leaves nobody out. That includes every human being in the totality of that oneness. And every time we don't accept that, every time we find fault, either in ourselves or in somebody else, we're just saying that God is not all. God is not all, the self is not all, and immediately we are in karma. Immediately in karma. So that is what I really want to cover here before we move into the question finally. And I'm sure more will come that I touch, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of more analogy on this timelessness. And if any sadhana is to practice, no, it's not a doing, it's a beingness, to be that, to live from that, to check many times every day, throughout the day, monitoring the consciousness. Am I in or am I out? Because guess what? If we're not accepting truth, if we're not being, accepting truth means being the self, then we are in karma, because the truth has no opposite, either this or that. We cannot serve two masters, we get to choose. And this is the only choice we have. Every moment we get to choose who I identify as and where am I looking from. Am I looking from a limited personal sense of self, or am I looking from as the infinite, everywhere present self? And that will determine my so-called tomorrow. That alone can alter the outcome. As one of the posts said that I posted by Robert is, what you think about all day long you become, what you feel about all day long become, because that's what you believe to be the truth, about God. Everything we believe to be truth about God comes into our experience. If we accept limitations, sickness, poverty, evil, bad, then that is what's going to be in our experience, as within, so without. So the change is never to be made out there in consciousness. The adjusting is in the projector, where everything is coming from. That's where the adjustment is made. So I think I talked long enough about the topic that I wanted to touch on today, so we're going to move into the questions now. So thank you guys. So let me see the first question. So this was I'm going to have a sip of water. This was from April, and she said, if it's already done, then we are just watching the script of the mortal dream. Yes? So everything that happened is inevitable, yet my choice is to see it as a dream or see it as real and react as if. This is my take from all Robert quotes and is consistent with and throughout his teaching and the study. I think I kind of covered this already. Just looking at the lines again, if anything I can add to this. The movie is made. The movie and every detail of it is already in the script. This is why it's so powerful to catch the vision, how pointless and how foolish it is to react what comes into the everyday experience, because it can't be, it is what it is. It's already been accepted, it's already here. So to react to it, to hate it, to fear it, to wish it away is totally foolish. So what I've seen this week, and this is so important, please take an inventory right now. Let us take an inventory in our consciousness. In what area in our life we still feel or hold the belief that I could have done better in the past. If I could have done better, or if I had done better, I would have had a different outcome. Where in our life we still feeling and holding that sense of mistake that was made by me, the little me, the silly me, and holding that condemnation, that unforgiveness still, that old tape is still running and running in our consciousness and running this life, this experience. What area? Let us see that. Let us pick up if there is any area where there is regrets, or wish I could have done different, or if I had another opportunity I would do it differently. Can we see how foolish it is? With the understanding that the movie before this body came into this appearance of this birth, into the incarnation, was already made. Everything was recorded, everything is on the movie, so it's inevitable, as April says, inevitable. So the only chance we have, the only choice we have is to not to react, with the understanding it will come. We don't know what's going to happen. See, we think I had this when I was doing 15 years, the Christian mysticism. And this is what separates that amazing teaching, which I really very much loved at my teachers. It separates it from this last up teaching, Robert Adams' teaching. That in that teaching there was still a me and I thinking, if I do the right thing, if I just meditate that much, if I do this much, then I can avoid the negative experiences coming into my life. Then I can avoid sickness. And we got to understand this is totally foolish. It's totally foolish. And when we see that, when we truly see that divine helplessness in the whole thing, whatever comes. When we see that there is such relief comes, such peace, that completely falls away, all the reaction and all that, the reacting to what appears. And as we no longer react to that, what appears, we never have to go through that again. It's erased, it's done, it's done. But if we react, if we hate, how many times we hate ourselves? Just be honest. How many times we are angry and upset with ourselves, thinking we could have done better, we should have done better. Why did I fail again? And we got to see that what we perceive, who failed, or who came short or something, was not who I am. Total re-identification. That was the dream character moving in this dream, in this mortal dream, but has got nothing to do with I am. Total disidentification with that. So that was my answer to that question. And then April continued. She added something else. So she said, thank you. Can you expand on what he means when he talks about preordainment as a choice we are making when we are reactive? Like this latest quote on the page talks more about this same as the one I commented on. I'm unclear how my reaction isn't already in the record and that I have my choice of doership. The preordainment is already there. Yeah. So actually that's the next question. So this is what she's unclear, and I just went through one line. So to this one, what I can say, what she's saying, if you get her question, she's unclear on one understanding. If if I don't react, but everything is already in the tape, and everything is already done, and it cannot be altered, then how the whole thing can alter my so-called future if I do not react to this now? What happens now? To this one, this is what I can say. First of all, sometimes the mind just wants to understand the tiniest details, and there are things that are total mystery. How many times Robert says, it's a mystery, there is no explanation, there is no answer. But sometimes we just need to take the inquiry towards who wants to know in this depth, or the answer. Having said that, I can tell you, and I have already answered this one before, but I'm going to say it again. What happens in that moment when karma comes into the present sense, into the time sense, and there is this only choice that is available for us is not to react. In that moment, that gets nullified, it is neutralized, and no additional karma happens. So in that moment, so say imagine a movie, you sit down and you watch a movie, right? So, and then when this appearance comes into the experience, and we have the choice of react or not react, when we go down that road of not reacting, what we're doing is connecting consciously with and as the eternal now, being the eternal now. So in that split second, the tape stops. And at the soul level, I would say this is what Robert meant on the soul. At the soul level, or the deep level, at that true level, this adjustment is being made. Wholeness is restored. Perfection is restored. Never went anywhere, but the adjustment is made in the projector. So in that split second, the movie stopped, and everything is restored. And once it is done, then the tape continues. Tomorrow, next day, next week, maybe another appearance comes, and every time when appearance comes, our job is to zero down into eternal now. No past, no future, nothing has ever happened, or everything is happening right now. It's paradox, but you know what I mean. And just rest in that moment of nothingness. Nothing happens. And that's how everything gets restored, and that karma is nullified and never has to go through it again. and the tape continues. So in the so-called next life, if there is next life, then that will not be included in the recording. Any of that we don't react this time, we will never have to go through it again. And that's my short and sweet answer to that, and leave the rest to mystery. Certain things not possible to understand. Only the mind wants to understand and needs to understand. So we need to also see that at this advanced state, questions are great, and my God, I really appreciate the question as they fuel this life. But let us really, as we grow in consciousness and awareness is expanding, let us inquire before we put down a question, and we want to go into the tiniest details wanting that answer. Who needs to know? And we might come to the conclusion that it is the mind. The mind needs to know, not the I am already the all-pervading, all-knowing, omniscient self doesn't need to know. And this journey really is complete for us when all questions, all need to know just falls away. We cannot drop it, because if we try to drop the questions thinking, oh, I want to be more advanced, so I'm not going to ask any more questions, then it's again an ego again. Any decision we make, anything that is not spontaneously coming into awareness, but a planning, a decision, it's the mind. However, as the mind quiets down, as we progress further enough in the path, they just fall away. The questions just no more. But in the meantime, questions are great. That's what satsang is all about, that all these great teachers, did. So questions are absolutely welcome. And I just would like you to know how much service you actually doing for your fellow travelers here in this group, because when you are asking the question and I'm able to say it and then connect with you by saying your name, believe me, that question is not just yours, it's all of our questions, so everybody can benefit from that. So I truly appreciate the questions. Okay, so let's move to the next one. The next one was and this is from Happy Hindu. I love your name, it's wonderful. Happy Hindu. Happy Hindu is saying, hi Happy Hindu, if you're here. If not, the question is, if I repeat I am, Becky is reading, left another message, but I'm not going to go there because I don't want to get disconnected. I know we are on the live, so everything is here, everything is going, otherwise somebody would call me. Okay, going back to Hindu, Happy Hindu. So if I repeat I am, often, is it wrong? Is it the ego? And then, so what I can say about this is, I am is one of the greatest sadhanas that Robert introduced, and he's actually saying to say this sadhana, when you say I, you inhale, and am, you exhale, I, you inhale, and am, you exhale, and it just totally calms down the mind. Now, this is during the journey. So there will be a moment when even this sadhana will stop. I did say to you in one of the lives that when the mind used to be really busy, I used this a little bit, but I only really said it about 3 or 4 times, because I'm just not the type of being that I don't like to say anything. For me, words is too hard to be on a mental level, so I just relax faster, just no thought, but to some of us, mantra is very helpful, and it is not wrong at all. It is but a part of the journey, and at the end, at one time, it will be dropped. It will be dropped on its own. That even the self-inquiry is a sadhana, and at the end everything will have to fall, because as long as we are practicing sadhana, there is a subject and an object, and to really have that confirmation rising from within, there has to be a total at-one-ment, which is only when there's nobody there, really, truly, not even a subject, nobody there. But in the meantime, when it is needed for the mind to quiet down, it absolutely has its place. Okay, so it's yeah, and then the question was, is it the ego? But definitely every sadhana, everything, every time we have to use a word or any doing, it's through the mind. But as Robert said, you have to use the mind to destroy the mind, so it has its place, nothing wrong with that. Okay, the next one is the last one. Actually, we come to the last one, and after that we will be moving to the meditation that we do every time, because it's a beautiful way of transmuting um, what has been worked with here at the live, or anything that is in the subconscious. In this beautiful group energy, it gets kind of neutralized and transmuted. Silence is the ultimate one, truly. So let me just go back to the line here. So, hey Gabrielle, yes, so here we go. I spent some time with this one as I messaged back to you. I looked for a couple of words I didn't understand and never heard before. And then so there is a response to this now, but it's not going to be any lengthy response, because basically your question, the answer is already there. The answer already is there in a way, but I'm going to confirm it and maybe just add a little bit to it. So thank you so much for sending these questions every week. So Gabriel says, Robert explains that if I ask 7 or 8 people what they perceive about something or someone, I get 7, 8 different answers, but the truth is that each person is seeing themselves. That is clear to me. Robert says, surely, I paraphrased him, because I am reading my notes, I am simply a mirror for your own reflection, but I am an autonomous mirror. And this was the word I didn't understand, autonomous, I never heard of it, but it means kind of self-contained, or free, something like that. So all this happens as an image of myself. All of life experiences are images on the screen of eternity. The screen is real, the images change, consciousness is the screen. When you identify with consciousness, you become consciousness. When you identify with the image, you enhance it, and you worry, you fear, and you have all kind of experiences. So we know that. So then the next one, can you dive into the topic of being an autonomous mirror? This was something I never heard of before, and I did spend some time finding material by Robert talking about an autonomous mirror, which means self-contained mirror. But I'm going to continue. So I understand that it means that what the other sees of me is their version of me, but it has nothing to do with my autonomous mirror, with who I truly am. Is that so? And so when you talk about this, the other sees of me, their version of me, so what I can highlight in this one, or just add to this one, is that there is no version of you, there is no version of me, there is no version, because the me doesn't exist at all. Like, it's all in the mirage. There is no version. It's like sometimes we say a part of me knows this and another part of me. There's no parts. There is no versions. There is no division. There's only the one infinite self. So seeing you is seeing the ego, me. And that's what I can say. So when you see the ego seeing the me, there is no me, there is no version, there's only just the one self. And everything, like this was this comment I think came after you saw this post on the consciousness is the screen, and everything that rises in the screen of consciousness, in the screen of awareness, are all the images. They are all without life, without substance. They have got no life in them, not a God life in them. the moment something comes into matter is already on its way to decompose, because it's got nothing in there. So and then these images appear in the screen. And there is a saying that like we only really truly see each other, one another. So, and has been my experience, and I'm sure yours as well, that when you see something in somebody that you don't like, or that you resist, it is actually reflecting back where you are at in consciousness, or what you are holding guilt for or unforgiveness for still. And this is why it's such a wonderful, amazing tool this mirroring is, because you kind of basically showing me what is lurking in my consciousness. Sometimes I can't see it, and then that it just shows me what I believe about the self that I am, and what division I'm holding in my awareness. So if we have developed the superconscious awareness, which I'm sure we are working on, to be more and more aware, to see and catch when the little me is in play, in operation, then everything, every day, every hour, every minute, every occurrence is an opportunity to make the correction within ourselves, in our seeing, and restore that oneness, that wholeness in our awareness. And the so-called world and the people in it and the things in it just show us where we are not yet living in that wholeness. So that's what I want to say about this. And the next line here, what does he mean when he speaks of consciousness as a screen of eternity that is real? What does he mean when he says that all of life experiences are images on the screen of eternity? Well, we have covered that already in a way. Everything on the screen is that appears is illusory, and eternity is the only one that is real. So everything that is appearing in time has got everything that comes in time has its opposite. So it cannot be real because it has its opposite, and in reality there is no opposite, there is only the oneness. So everything is illusion. And there is this last line, almost the last. False images, for example, the versions that others have of me, which is not my real being, I reflect it in my autonomous mirror, and I see it on the screen of consciousness, but these are images. These images are illusions. The screen is real, but the content can be illusory until we identify with consciousness. So here what I can say, Gabriel, is that the content is always illusory. Like the content is always illusory because it appears in time, and I already have just said that. And so when you say until we identify with consciousness, when you identify with consciousness as consciousness, but it appears the content is still illusory, there is nothing there but reality, and all is the projection of the mind. So the last line is, what would this dynamic be if you recognize that these images are illusory and discard them? The screen of consciousness becomes empty of characteristics, beyond opposites and illusions for you, and you connect with absolute consciousness. So what you're saying is it becomes illusory and you connect with absolute consciousness. But please let us take an inventory again here. Who is the one who is going to connect with consciousness? You're not going to be connecting with consciousness. You cannot connect with consciousness because you are consciousness. There is nothing we can do to be the real self. The only thing we can do is to be. So there's no action, there's no activity, it's only beingness. We're not connecting with consciousness, we are consciousness. So now I don't know if that answered to your question, but again I can say to you the same I said to April. Like wonderful questions, and I truly appreciate them. When we really need to know the tiniest details, sometimes we inquire about them, and if anything rises to our awareness, then we need to know. Otherwise, in some levels, we just need to inquire who needs to know at that deepest level. Because again, I'm going back to what I said before. Some things are just a mystery, and they need to be left there. Otherwise, we go too much into the mind, and then we go we back into the self that we so badly wanted to disconnect from, and ask the personal sense. Now, I'm not saying that you're doing this, Gabriel. I'm just talking in general. Like, we gotta be so aware, like always inquire, and who needs to know, who needs to go into the details, and then just I trust we can all see that some of the things are mystery, and they have to be left there. I mean, even Robert is saying that a mysterious power will always take care of this body. You're not the body, you're not identifying with the body. The dream is going on in this world. But as we identify as consciousness, then the struggle and the strife and the suffering ceases in this world, in this third-dimensional world, because consciousness takes its place, and consciousness by definition is completeness and fulfillment, always here in the now. And when we finally stop taking thought and fearing for the future, and thinking that we need to sort out our problems and find solutions to the problems, if we can just always return to that center of rest, into the eternal now, where everything already is, then when we are in the eternal now consciously, then what is about to come in the so-called future is already here. There is a terminology in the Bible, and it's called speaking with tongue. And the definition of that is when the beginning, when the ending, so the beginning and the ending is simultaneous. When the cause and effect is simultaneous. No birth, no, everything is simultaneous. Everything is happening right now. And then when we are in the eternal now, like we're speaking with tongue, which means that for us everything is always here, never out of reach, nothing to wait for. All of the problems we have, that all of the solutions are already here, but it's going to be very hard if we continue struggling, striving, seeking, trying to solve it with the mind. At the level of the mind, we're going through in a vicious circle and not getting anywhere. But if we stop, if we stop figuring it out, solving anything, by that resting, then we already automatically are the eternal now, when past, present, future is right now. And whatever need to come into the time sense, then will show up immediately with ease and grace, without any help from the mind. And that is the way of living and moving through this world. And that is the way that leads to peace, that passes all understanding. Is because, and this is my closing point now, is I truly trust, really truly trust, that we have caught the vision of the futility of reacting to anything that comes into this experience every day, whatever comes, because it's already in the movie. It's futile to try to change it, to hate it, even to blame myself for it. I, the true self, have got nothing whatsoever to do with it. And if we can just see that, in a way we kind of learn to play this game, like it's just using another analogy for us to understand, like there are rules in this game, and then so-called the rules is take no thought, be in the timeless self, react not. And if we can just incorporate these ingredients, say we're baking a cake, right? And doesn't matter how beautiful ingredients you put into the cake, the walnuts, the cream, I don't know what goes in, but if we just leave out one element, then the cake is not going to be that tasty, no matter what, no matter how beautiful we put in all the other ingredients, the walnut and the jam and the, I don't know, I don't bake cakes, but whatever is there, put it in there, I put it in there, and it doesn't taste what I tasted somewhere else, because if one ingredient is left out, it's not the same. So that's why spiritual life is very simple, the most simple thing to live, as long as we understand, these so-called principles to live by. It's not a doing, it's a being. By keeping that in awareness, take no thought, because thought is vibration. And if I am vibrating at any frequency, my vibrational being as a mortal self is going to react to the vibration that is coming into my experience. So then there will be struggle and strive and more karma. But if I'm able to if the thought process is ceasing or stopping, then I become a vibrationless being, which is what's in the reality, like there's nothing happening, no vibration. Then whatever coming into my present as a karmic past, there will be nobody there to receive it, because I'm already at the state of no vibration. I disidentified as a person, and I'm not, and nobody there to receive it. So there will be no reaction, no action, no reaction, and nullified karma, nullified. That's one of them. The biggest one for me, and the biggest one has been the most helpful, is to stay out of time, because this is the thing. There's not a lot we have to keep in mind. As the moment I'm not in time, I am not in mind either. And the moment I'm in mind, I'm in time. They go hand in hand. And we can't be in the thinking, we can't be in the time if we are to live in the eternal now. That is coming home to the Father's house, which never left. And that is living as the unborn self, And as the pencil example, we must live in a way that all of my whole being is alive. In the past, the present, nothing, the past, present, future is not real, but the wholeness of my being is always here. Nothing is dead. To us, what we don't see beyond what peers through the piece of paper is dead, it's past. But the pencil is a whole being. What is yet to come, what is past, is still the whole being. So we're not dismembering the garment into many pieces. There's only one indivisible being, and we identifying as that. No parts, no fragments, no particles, one indivisible, invisible, divine being I am. And if I don't include you in any shape or form, or if I don't include myself as my human self, then I'm automatically in karma, because I divided the garment of the one self. See, when we able to move from that mortal identification into immortality, as we live from that consciousness, we already beyond all the karmic effects. And if you don't want to come back to another painful, I was going to say childhood. My childhood was very, very, very painful and then difficult, and I always thought, my God, not again. So I'm going to do everything I can to seal it done in this incarnation, because I don't want no more body life or anything like that. But that was my approach. So I was very one point understanding that I have the chance, and every one of us here, please don't compare yourself. That's the other thing that the ego is so big on, always comparing itself to others. Look at others, but look at me, That is a total ego trap. You're not comparing yourself to anybody. You're not judging. In judgment, you are in karma. You stay away from all that. It's only perfection, only wholeness, only divine compelling right action in any given moment. And as we're able to embrace that, then everything will change in terms of peace that passes understanding. We all want peace, and that is how the peace can't be attained, and the peace cannot be kept. So when we derive our peace because something good came into our experience, it's going to be very short-lived, right? Because it has a source of temporary something. But when I identify with peace as the peace, it can never be taken away. And that peace, and the world is turned off in our consciousness, as we abide. That is the understanding what it means to abide in and as the self, leaving no one out, no condemnation, no judgment. Nothing has ever gone wrong. That is accepting the self and not karma. And if we're not abiding is if we insist on making mistakes and blaming and regrets, what we're saying is please, more karma, more difficulty, please, I want more of that. That's what we're saying. We need to see the futility of that. We need to catch the vision, and I trust you have caught it, and then from here on, be able to move through lighter in our everyday experience, more laughter, because it is not real, it's only a joke, really, truly. So now, we're going to move into our little meditation. So just a few minutes of silence. So it is a little bit shorter today, the live. I didn't have that many questions, so we're just staying here. Perhaps we don't need to go to the bathroom like last time. So let us center ourselves. And we're basically moving through this morning ritual that we usually do in the morning, but can be done anytime, of turning off the world. Because the only way we ever gonna move through peace during the day if the world is not real for us. We're turning off the real. We're turning off the world by accepting the true identity, understanding it's not localized in time and space. The true identity I am is the omnipresent self, includes everyone and everything, all inclusive. And we turn off the world by this constant, continuous remembrance that I was never born. I will never die. I am eternity. I am in the eternal now. There is only one day, that's eternal day, without beginning, without end. No beginning, no end. We forget the name that was given to the form, the place where we appear to be. We forget the responsibilities with understanding that none of it is my responsibility. All of the human responsibilities are automatically, spontaneously, easily and effortlessly fulfilled as I stay out of it, as I understand that when the thought process is not, consciousness takes its place, awareness takes its place, and where consciousness is, there is automatic fulfillment, completion, providence, automatically. Just like the birds are fed, the lilies in the valleys blooming, everything is automatic, as there is no thought process and no waiting for anything to come or anything to go, with the understanding that everything is here and now to the self. I'm not the human who has got something over there and over there. I am the self, and to the self everything is here and everything is now. And just whatever we feel that we're lacking, in our experience. We can take a mental acknowledgement right now. It's here. It's here. I was in time, waiting for it to come. That's why I didn't see it. It's here, in the now, in the encompassing past, present, and future is over here and now. And I'm in that have it all and have it now consciousness. I am all, here and now. And as we dive deep into this, there is a moment when the world is turned off, meaning that the world means nothing. There is no body, there is no form, there is no birth, the definition of divinity. I make my own karma. I make my own freedom. How? By being here right now, in the center, before time, in and as the unborn self. The world is turned off. The body will be moving, going, doing things like that. I am here. I didn't come, I never come, and I will never go. I am here. And where I am here, peace is here, harmony is here, allness, completeness. That is the only thing that is here. Everywhere. Because everywhere is here. Everywhere is I am. So let us stay in the silence with that for a few minutes. What comes to me, what comes to awareness is something so important. The greatest alchemy is love, is gratitude, is forgiveness. So wherever we have held ourselves or someone else in fault, shortcoming, failure, or anything to that effect, let us understand that it's all the self. No matter what comes into my experience is what is serving me in that moment. Sometimes the egoic self is kicking and wanting to hold on to the attachments and has to go. Made no mistake, it has to go. Let us look at ourselves and truly, truly love that self. Not for anything. There is no reason why we love the self, just because it's the self, the everywhere present self, appearing as me, as you, and her, and it only the self. And let us understand that forgiveness is complete only when self is the only perceived being, as everything, as everyone. Passport to heavenly consciousness. Stirring up that gratitude vibration. It's wonderful when we're able to say I'm thankful for the good things. But how about genuinely stirring up the vibration of gratitude for all the difficulties, the pain, the sense of suffering in my experience, because it's no different to the good. It's the same side of the other side of the same chord, and by this we're rising beyond the pairs of opposites and accepting only divinity, only the oneness. Thankful, because if there hadn't been difficulties, challenges, we wouldn't be here. So we're not going to be preferring like humans. We're not going to be picking anymore, preferring that, preferring this. That is the human. I am not that. Everything and every occurrence is equal in our eyes. We are seeing with the eyes of God, with the eyes of the infinite. We're not favoring an experience more than the other. We are rising above that. Right now, we have already risen above that. We are pure. There's purity in consciousness. When all that is dropped away with the understanding of this. The dedication to this principle is born out of the understanding of this truth. There's nobody dedicated then. It just is. as I'm opening my eyes slowly, but if you would like to stay longer, at one time I might stay longer. We used to stay for a whole hour in my back then group, just in pure silence. What came to me really strongly is at Robert's suggestion that every morning the minute you open our eyes, and I trust you have already experimented with that, is we are in our true nature for a split second before the first thought enters. And it very quickly goes into the brain. But with awareness and attention, that can be directed back into the heart right away. And what a difference it is. You get out of bed, you go to the bathroom, I'm just picturing myself, you go to the kitchen, turning on the kettle, and while you're walking towards there, you're maintaining the purity of that consciousness of no thought, just moving, nothing's happening. That is the eternal now. That is the unborn state. Make the coffee, you sit down, and he actually recommends to stay in that awareness actively 15-30 minutes every morning. But that is the awareness we require to live from and live as. No thought activity unless practical thinking is needed. What a difference it is because the thinking is compulsory, like almost like I gotta think about my day, my God. But that is the mind. You just stay in that no thinking mode, carry it as long as you can, total purity and nothingness there. And life is very different, everything's very different. Peace is here, everything is here when we maintain that unbroken conscious awareness of the eternal self in the eternal now, the unborn self. So I've done everything I could today to add some tips, some ideas of how to put this into application. There's nothing to learn, only to apply what is being heard. And I thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me today and doing this meditation with me also, if you stay till the end. And I welcome any topics you would like me to talk about. And please continue coming your questions. Gabrielle, I would kind of miss if there were no questions, coming from you. So everybody, when you have a question, just feel free to put it down or send me privately. Most people send me privately. I don't know why, but that's okay. And then we continue to grow together. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey of no journey. Journey nowhere. We're not moving on the time. We're not waiting for anything to happen or to change. We're not waiting for an illness to be broken, and that's a hard one, I know. Because the health is just the opposite of illness. We're moving beyond all that. We're resting in that unborn, pure self. And that will determine our tomorrow in every way, in terms of karma or another life or no life. So thank you. I love you all. I appreciate your beautiful presence here, everyone. And I shall see you again in 1 week time. Until now, we remain connected as one. And I continue the passages, assembling as I move to. And I like to post a fair bit because I feel like I'm driven to certain particular pieces every time, and I feel it is good to put out different topics each time because that raises the question for the next life. So looking forward to it already. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Maroon. Everybody who's been here, thank you. And I shall see you again. Peace and love to all.